All right. Greetings. This is Miss Winters, and I'm here to guide you upon how to set up an MLA explanatory essay. Okay. So, what you're going to need is a blank Google Doc. You're going to need your actual outline. Okay. And then I will give you this presentation as well to help as needed, but you don't really need that if you're watching this at the same time. All right, so the first step that you want to do is you want to go ahead and ensure that you double click at the top and then you'll of the paper and then you'll see header. Okay. What I like to do is like to click the align button and then click right. And then I wanted to ensure that I am changing Arial to Times New Roman and ensuring that my font size always remains 12. I write my last name in the upper right hand corner here. And then I hit the space bar. After I hit the space bar, then I will hit options. Once I hit options, I will then click on page numbers and then it will start at 1. Okay. It will start to populate. You cannot see as we continue on down the page. All right. Next. And what do we have here? You want to come down and click Times New Roman once again, and then hit 12. And then you want to go ahead and add your heading. But before you add your heading, you want to format your paper to be double spaced. Okay, so then that's when you click format, line and paragraph spacing, and then you'll click double. All right. Then you will go ahead and type your full name here. Okay. And then next, if I'm not mistaken, you'll type your teacher's name. Then after your teacher's name, you will type your course name, which is pretty much English and your grade level. And then you have to ensure that you add the date. The date is written day, month, year in MLA format. So for example, if you were to begin this today, then you'll write 5 December 2022. All right. Then you would go ahead and hit enter. Click on align, click center align, and then you will write the title of your work. Do not bold, do not enlarge in, do not underline. Just write the title and capitalize the words as you're supposed to do, okay? So my title of my work is going to be called Dante's Depiction of the Afterlife. Plain and simple. So then I hit enter. And the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to ensure that my page is left aligned. Okay. So then the next step that I want to do is I want to actually go to my actual essay and I'm going to fixate on the introduction section, which is literally right here. Okay. It's labeled introduction. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the PowerPoint. And what you're going to notice is that the introduction begins with 3 different components. You have the attention getter, okay, which is basically beginning your essay with something that's going to engage your readers. It could be a fact, an interesting fact, a statistic, a quote, rhetorical question, figurative language, an anecdote, something that's going to draw your readers in. Next, you have your narrow details. Sometimes we actually call this part the transition or background information. It's all the same. I prefer that we call them the narrow details. Why? Because these details are supposed to basically hint towards what you're going to be talking about within your number 3 thesis statement. Okay, and there's a 1 point versus a 3 point thesis statement. But in this class, we will continue to do 3 points because it's a lot easier that way, and each point is reflective of a body paragraph. Okay. So with that being said, we're not going to do that example. I'm going to go back. Okay. And then actually add these components and as well as label them, highlight and label them as we go. All right, so when I come here, I have my attention getter. It is in the form of a rhetorical question. Keep in mind that the question I had at the top, that's just the question I'm answering, is not necessarily my title, okay? That's when I would come here. And I would literally copy this. And if you want to type it, you can as well. But I would literally copy and paste this part, okay? Mind you, as I'm going through this, you're going to notice that you'll see Grammarly on my computer is great because it helps me proofread as I go. Granted, I'm going to reread it once I finish and read it as I go. Does hell only consist of fire and demons? Okay, so that's our attention getter. And then you have to introduce narrow details, okay? Being that I'm going to be talking about Dante Alighieri's literary work, The Divine Comedy, I just go ahead, I give a general overview of what it's about, okay? So then that's when I would come here and I would copy it. Okay. Mind you, I'm proofreading as I go in accordance to Grammarly. Okay, and that's fine. All right. And then lastly, we have our actual thesis statement. Notice that I'm not copying the numbers. Those numbers were there to help benefit you during the first tutorial. Okay. So what I would like to do now is to, of course, enlarge in this, but change the font to black, change it, unbolden it, I should say, change it to Times New Roman. Okay. And then I want to get in front of the very first sentence and hit the tab key, T-A-B. You'll notice that typically you'll have a tab key on your left. All right. So that's the introduction. Just to make matters easier, just going to highlight the different components. You don't have to do this, but I would recommend it. It would definitely help your paper. Okay. So I'm just going to highlight the attention getter yellow for now. Okay. And that's, I can also put hook, but I'm just going to put attention getter. And then we recognize that this segment, this segment right here, where it starts from in Dante Alighieri's literary work, is giving us some background information, okay, that's leading towards my thesis statement. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight that, I guess, baby blue, and then label it narrow details. Okay. Or you could put background information, whatever you're comfortable with. All right. And then lastly, I have my 3-point thesis statement. Dante Alighieri depicts the afterlife as being 3 different rooms: Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. I have a little butterfingers here with the keys. So that's why I'll come over here. I will highlight it. Hot pink, maybe a little lighter so I can see. Okay. And then I would go ahead and make a comment and put down 3-point thesis statement, okay? All right, and I can see clearly here my 3 points are going to be Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. All right, so that's done. All right, so then next, we're going to go back to the PowerPoint again so we can understand the structure. After our introductory paragraph, we move forward to our body paragraphs. There are three, because remember, we have 3 points for within our thesis statement. This is the structure of a body paragraph, okay? We're not going to do this practice activity that's embedded here tonight. Maybe we'll do it some other time. All right. So we have our topic sentence, which is going to introduce the point upon what we're going to be talking about. And even though they don't have a transitional word or phrase here, we want to ensure that we keep a habit of that. Then we have intro to evidence, which is just a fancy word for our supporting detail. And we'll talk about where that's located or what it's called in graphic organizer. And then you have your actual piece of evidence. And that evidence is tied with the point that you're trying to convey within your topic sentence. And then you explain how the evidence connects with the point that you're discussing in your topic sentence and reflects the thesis statement. And then typically you would repeat this process with additional pieces of evidence. And such as you could do a 1 or 2 additional pieces of evidence, but for the sake of time, we're just going to do 2, okay? And that's fine. All right, but we want to get in the habit of being punctual and ready in regards to time management. All right, and then here we have an actual concluding sentence, okay? So I'm going to show you how to arrange this only for the first one, but it's going to be your responsibility to do this for your entire paper. Okay, we'll use the same colors on the key to begin with. All right, you're going to notice that I'm going to be doing a lot of copying and pasting and rearranging. You can always figure out a different way to do it. That's fine, but this is what works for me. So I'm going to hit enter. Ironically, it takes me literally right here, whereas the actual paragraph is already indented, so I didn't have to hit the tab key. Okay. Again, notice how I'm ensuring that this remains in Times New Roman. Okay. My first point is Inferno. Again, we can always remove the lines towards the end. This is just to better assist us. Okay. So when I go back here and I look at the actual key, I'm noticing that the topic sentence is green. Okay, but we also mentioned that we need to have a transitional word or phrase before the actual topic sentence. So I decided to use first and foremost because they actually that phrase helps introduce the beginning paragraph. It's a nice one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight this green. It doesn't relate to the same green highlight above. Okay, all right, and then we want to ensure that we are labeling so we can have better understanding. You can always remove these labels a little bit later, but this is like an easy way to do so. All right. So we know that this is a transitional phrase. Okay, because it's more than one word. Okay. Great. All right. So then what's next? We actually have our intro to evidence, basically our supporting detail. It's a sentence that's hinting what we're going to be talking about within our evidence. And we had to do some backwards mapping here. So that's when I would go ahead and take this actual supporting detail, which is underneath for reason number 1 for set 1, and I would copy and paste it here. Now, I want to be careful with what I'm doing because you notice how that automatically highlighted it green. I didn't want that. Okay, green, so I'm going to change it. So, all right. And I'll just go ahead and change it back to Times New Roman a little bit. Well, no, I'll just do it as I go. Okay. So make sure it's 12 inches in black. Okay. And Times New Roman. All right, great. All right. So it says Dante introduces where those who have committed sins innocently are located in the Inferno. All right. So then this is going to be basically supporting detail number one for me. Some people may call it intro to evidence. I'll go ahead and I'll apply both. Okay. So I'm going to use baby, like a turquoise blue, to highlight the intro to evidence. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and also make a comment and put down, I'll put intro to evidence, but in parentheses, I'm going to put supporting detail. You don't have to put both, but I just put both for my sanity, but I really prefer to call it a supporting detail because it's literally supporting what's about to, be showcased, which is the piece of evidence. All right. So then that's when I would come over here and I would copy and paste my piece of evidence. Okay, right here. Okay, now because this quote is 4 lines or more, we do not need, or I should say piece of evidence. We do not need quotation marks. All right. And so what's going to transpire is that we just need to ensure, and usually we hit the tab key, but it's kind of doing it on its own a little bit. Okay, well, spoke too soon. Okay. And you're going to formulate a block quote if the actual quote is 4 lines or more. Thank you for your patience. Okay. All right. So in Canto 4, canto is just a fancy word for song. Okay. You know how you have stanzas usually within a poem. Dante called his segments of poems cantos as if they were songs. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to also go ahead and change this back to black in 12. And then the actual font we were using. Okay. Now, mind you, these are Dante's words because he's the writer, but because it's more than 4 lines, we have to do what we will call a block quote. Therefore, we still give him credit by writing his last name in parentheses. And there's no page number, which is fine. And then we hit period. Okay. So when we go back here and we look at the color for evidence is orange. However, you want to ensure that, and I will give you this template as well, that you are using those actual introductory evidence stems. Okay. It's going to say X, but it really mean basically the author's name, acknowledges that, or agreed that. You want to ensure that you have an introductory yes, excuse me. You want to show that you have an introductory stem to introduce your quotes and your explanations, okay? So it also has something that says basically X is saying, in other words, X believes, okay? So you replace the X with the author's name. Anywho, for the sake of time, once you get back here, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna highlight this orange so it can align with the actual chart. Hopefully you're not confused at this point. And again, you can always do this and then change the colors. Color was too dark. Clearly it's not orange, right? Okay. Highlighter, orange. Okay, there we go. All right. So then, as you may have guessed it, every piece of evidence Oh, and that's right. We have to ensure that we're labeling so we won't miss anything. So I'm going to put down evidence. Okay, I may decide just to be extra and put down block quote. Okay, but you don't have to do that. Okay, I'm just reminding myself that that's where my block quote is. Okay. And then next we have our explanation. All right, so the way I did my explanation was the fact that I clicked on this right here, which is basically it was a comment that I made on top of the word explanation. And then again, I'm not going to include the numbers here, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight this actual part. And then I'll hit enter. Now, because this is a block quote, and mind you, I'm trying not to confuse you here. It's going to get just a little bit funky. You're still in this same paragraph if you have a block quote. If you don't, then it won't be, it'll be just like any other essay. But again, if you have block quote, then you'll go ahead and hit delete or the backspace key on your board, and then you will go ahead and provide your explanation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fix this. Again, you could do this so many different ways. I'm just doing it this way because it's more comfortable for me. Okay. All right. So this is acting as if it's recognizing it as evidence, but it's not. We know that it's actually an explanation. So with that being said, the explanation would be highlighted yellow. I know you can't really see that. Yeah, it will be highlighted yellow. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and go over top of it and highlight it yellow. Again, thank you for your patience and your time. May not be able to see that. Okay. Still didn't really do it justice, but I believe you all get the point. But that's why we have an opportunity to come and label it. And I'm also going to add a period at the end of this before I move forward. Oh, period does not go there, Ms. Winters. Okay, here we go. All right. Explanation. And what I like to also do is like label it like explanation number one, you know, evidence one, but we didn't do that, but that's fine. Maybe we'll do it for the second one. Okay. All right. So thus far, you've completed what? Just half of the actual body paragraph. So then I have another set of supporting details, evidence, and explanation. Okay. Again, I'm in the same body paragraph. Okay. So I'll go ahead, I'll scroll down. Okay. And I'm gonna start here like anyone else. Okay, I had to take a brief pause. So again, we're here. This is supporting detail number 2. We want to ensure that we're keeping the same color scheme. Therefore, we're going to highlight that turquoise blue or baby blue. Okay, but before we do that, we're ensuring that this is in Times New Roman. It's not bold and it's a size 12. Okay, so highlight it blue. And then we're going to go ahead and comment and label it supporting detail number 2. Okay. Or you could call it Intro to Evidence. Let me not mess it up. Intro to Evidence 2. Okay. Support detail number 2. Again, we are in the same body paragraph. Which is body paragraph number 1. So then we come back here to the chart and we will then click on our evidence here. And I'm also going to backtrack and let you all notice something as well. You're going to notice again, and I think I've already mentioned it, that you have these actual stems. Oops. It's a little funky sometimes when we're doing this, okay, but no worries. Okay. Notice how I'm editing as I go. And the Grammarly, that's for free, really helps. Okay. All right. So I'm giving my piece of evidence, my example. And I need to ensure that the color is orange. Okay. All right. I have orange. Okay. Mind you, this is not the same one as a block quote. Okay. We're fine. And I think this font needs to be black and a size 12. Okay. So then that's when we would go ahead and ensure that we had our, what can I say? Yeah, we want to ensure that we have our parenthetical citation for the name of the author, because I did give the actual video title and I did cite YouTube, but you would also ensure that you would cite the username of the actual author of the video, and that's typically at the bottom of the video. So for example, I'm going to click here. Let's say I
See yourself in the Lululemon Studio Mirror.
All right. Cool mirror, right? All right. So it says, I am your target demographic. So I would go ahead and ensure that I write that here just the way it is. I am your targeted demographic. Okay. And then let me fix this. The period goes after the parenthetical citation in this case. Okay. All right, great. So now, that being said, I'm going to also highlight this and comment. This is going to be evidence. Okay, number 2. Okay, so we already have our MLA style there as well. All right. Next, we have our explanation. Again, I made a comment on top of my explanation, so all I have to do is copy and paste. And mind you, I'm just copying and pasting, but after this, I would actually take the time out to go over it and make some adjustments or addendums if I were actually doing this in its entirety, okay? So then it says, Dante gives us insight that the worst sin, the worst punishment is as he enters deeper into the depths of hell, okay? So again, we're going here and we're fixing this in MLA format. Okay. And then you'll start, I should start memorizing colors by now, but it's a little late and it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that turquoise blue highlighter here. When I highlighted turquoise blue. Okay, and once I highlighted turquoise blue, I am then going to hit add comment. And I'm going to put down explanation number 2. Okay. All right. If I had an additional set, I would do the same thing. And then, of course, all of the sets will be 3. Number 3, supporting detail. Number 3, evidence. 3, explanation. 3. However, I only did 2. And then I have my concluding sentence. Okay, notice how my concluding sentence has a transitional word or phrase that signals that I am coming to an end. I decided to use overall, and sometimes, again, you have to readjust it because MLA, you have to be very neat. Okay, so I decided to use overall, and then I'm going to put in 12, change the font to Times New Roman, and show the font is black. Okay, and voila, you finish your very first body paragraph. Okay. You may not get have a block quote, and that's fine. All right. But if so, that's what it looks like. Okay. And then I want to show that I highlight and label my conclusion as well. All right. We're almost there. Thank you for your patience. So that's pink. Okay. Go ahead and use the hot pink for now. All right. All right, and that's pretty much it. So then you would end up repeating the process, making sure that you indent the next paragraph and add a transitional word or phrase such as like additionally or secondly or whatnot. And then you would describe your second point. For me, it would be purgatorio. Then once I finished that body paragraph, I would then move forward to the last one for body paragraph 3 and discuss paradiso, how Dante depicts it. Once you're finished with that, you actually have your conclusion, and it tells you literally like what to do exactly for your conclusion. Okay, and it's not completed all the way, but basically you have your summary. I'm sorry, you have your transitional word or phrase that's signaling that you're coming to an end, such as in summary, to sum it up, to wrap it up. Okay, overall, it's up to you. And then you go ahead and literally copy and paste the actual thesis here, or you make it similar to reflect the thesis, but I just rather copy and paste. Okay, then you'll have your 3 key points summarizing what your actual work was about for each body paragraph, what enlightened you or whatnot. And again, you're writing all of this in third person, and then you have to actually come up with a concluding like attention getter, something that's going to lead the reader in awe. All right. So that's that. Keep in mind that as you are doing this, you need to ensure that you're keeping track of your sources. All right. But notice how, again, here, my name automatically pops up with the number fair. Okay. So let's just pretend as if we finished this entire paper. Okay. But you need to add a works cited page. All right. Which I like to try to add at the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and type works cited. I'm not going to underline it. I'm not going to italicize it. It's just strictly works cited. And then I'm going to go back and align this cursor to the left. Let me zoom in so you all can see. Okay, align the cursor to the left. Okay, and then I will add a website called like Scribber. Okay, the one that we talked about during class. And then click on the citation generator. Okay. And then it'll allow for you to, create your own list and so forth. Okay. But there's one that's where you can just easily put it in. And we went through this in class, but for the sake of time, I won't go there. Okay. But your works cited is a collection of your actual, what do I want to say? The sources that you use within your paper. All right. So when I come here, I went ahead. This is, again, it's a model. Okay, but notice how all the authors' last names are in order. Alza, Doyne, and Green. All right. So I would just go ahead and ensure that after I use my machine, or if I am going to type it by hand, that just go ahead and use it and drag and drop it here. And it needs to look nice and organized like this. Okay. Yeah, just like this. Notice that how you have the lines that are hanging. And that's it. So again, I did the intro, body paragraph 1, and then, you know that you have to repeat that same process with the other 2 points for the body paragraph, then add your conclusion, and then you have your works cited on a totally different page. This part is redundant because I had copied and pasted, but it's only supposed to be like one works cited title. Okay, and that's it. And that's it. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this was beneficial. Then you'll submit this online. Make sure that you click share, okay, and that you actually name your paper. Matter of fact, I don't want to name it untitled document. I'm going to name it literally the title of my work. Okay. All right. You would click share, and then you would change it, remember, to PGCPS, and then you would hit viewer, done, and then hit copy link. All right. Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that this helps. Have a great day.